Thanks for tuning in to Live at Mixtape. Tonight we have a poetry reading by Ashley Combs, otherwise known as Kashleegbanx. Ashley is a 31-year-old mother, poet, caretaker, writer, and activist from Midwest City by way of Boley. She believes words promote healing and belonging, not only for her, but the people that connect with her work. She sees Black women as the bedrock of everything that we value and love and wants to share that, and the stories of the Black women who raised her with the world. Ashley's virtual tip jar information will be posted in the comments. And now I'm going to let Ashley take it away.
Hey, y'all. So, welcome to my first poetry feature. That was them hyping me up back there. They're pretty great. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. I plan to be as vulnerable as I possibly can. Shout out to Brene Brown for teaching me that. And I plan to dare greatly, and I plan to just share what life has been like. Some of these poems are new. Some of these poems are a little old. Some of them are written during quarantine. So those are probably the emotional ones that you'll see very well. This is different than most poetry features. Usually there's a crowd. Usually I'm hearing dangs and snaps, and people are like either giving you a when they don't like it or a ooh when they do. So I have it pulled up on here. So if you have anything you want to say to me, please leave it in the comments so that way I can kind of get that. Because poetry is a conversation. It's me telling you how I feel, and it's you telling me if you feel it back. And bonus points if you feel seen. Super bonus points if you see yourself clearer. So let's go. My first one is called Motherhood. As anybody who is a mother or who mothers people or children know, it's so hard. It's so hard. It is excruciating and enjoyable and time-consuming and amazing and all of the adjectives. But at the end of it, you get to see this thing that you've planted. You get to see all of these things that you wanted to put into a person come to fruition. And I'm already seeing that at 9 years for my baby girl. Hi, Athena. So that's what I start with. I don't have a lot of poems about motherhood because I'm still healing from it. And although when you're healing from something, defining your feelings is important, it's scary. My pregnancy was scary. I worked and went to school till I was 38 weeks pregnant. I drove with no AC in Oklahoma heat because I didn't have gas money. Sometimes I didn't have enough money to eat. Her dad was as scared as I was, and he left to start a new life built for our daughter, devoid of me. I can't blame him. I wanted to leave too. The way I had planned to be a mother had given way to every trope that America had about me. I was single. I was Black. I was poor. And when the baby got here, it got worse. And that's why I don't have a lot of poems about motherhood, because that line is like sacrilege. The first thing I learned about motherhood is how to lie. I'm fine, I'm happy, she's perfect. When in reality is, I'm sad. She won't stop crying. I don't know how to do this. Motherhood is no place for honesty. I was told it was a place of self-sacrifice, where only those who suffer are rewarded with the honor of being called a good mother. What I have learned is that motherhood is about self-empowerment. All these Black women living in me told me they did what they could do with what they had. These ancestors told me to keep living, keep feeding, keep loving, keep hoping and praying, and that child will show me parts of myself that I thought I had hid well enough where no one could find it. Children are light. They illuminate who you are, how you see. My grandmother told me, let her show you who she is, who you are. Who are we to tell children who they should be? The world told this baby they were nothing, and it is up to you to show them they are everything. And they are everything because you are something else. I named that baby Athena, the Greek goddess of war, because I felt I had lost every battle and maybe she could win where I lost. That although I was wounded in the fight for my life, she could pick up my sword and keep fighting. She has kept me here on days I did not want to be alive. She has shown me more empathy from a car seat than I've ever felt from any adult. The universe be knowing, and the universe gave me her. And she gave me myself. That's motherhood. Thank you for the snaps. I appreciate it. It's exactly true what I said. I don't have a lot of poems about motherhood because it is terrifying. And a thing about motherhood is that people are not honest about it. People don't tell you how hard it's going to be. And they either try to scare you and not tell you the good parts, or they try to tell you all the good things and none of the realistic stuff. And I think there's a happy medium, like everything. And I wish there was someone who could be more honest with me. And thank God for the moms in my life who are honest with me and who tell me, oh, I just wanted to go home and not be touched. And, oh, we got McDonald's for the third day, and it's just going to have to do because I need to survive. Shout out to all of my mom friends. Shout out to Shayla. Shout out to Lauren. Shout out to everybody who has let me vent about everything motherhood related. So the next one is about love. This is what I would like to call the love section. So if you see the little pink notes, that's my love section. That's me allowing myself to remember there's love involved in this. But love is a real thing. Love has its drawbacks and it has its immense, immense beauty. And like with everything, like with the motherhood poem, I just want to be honest about it and honest where I am in that moment. And a lot of poems that I read are me telling you all where I am in that moment. So this one is called This Time Next Week. And I wrote this after reading Their Eyes Are Watching God. So you'll hear a lot of the same language. So this time next week, he gonna be beside me. I'm gonna look across my bed and see his chocolate laid on my sheets like he's ready to be wrapped and gifted. This time next week, he gonna kiss me when I wake up and love me back to sleep. This time next week, I'm going to be on the other side of the bed. He likes the right side, and like God, I want to be on his left. This time next week, I'm going to want him to leave. I'm not going to want him to leave home. I just want to be under him, call me foundation, and him roof. This time next week, I'm going to be the happiest girl. I'm going to hold my hips when I walk. I'm going to switch and feel the density of my hips, and I'm going to like it. I'm going to stare at myself a little extra in the mirror, and I'm going to ask myself, what am I going to do when he leaves? Oh, you guys are sweet. And I forgot to add this earlier. No paper shaming. It's Corona. It's pandemic. I can barely remember my name. She asked it me earlier, and I was like, it starts with an A. I'm sure it's somewhere. It's up here. Let me grab it. Give me a second. So if you see me reading from paper, just, work with your girl. And also with poetry features, it's messy. People are pulling off their phones. People are pulling out of notebooks, which you will see me do both of. So take this journey with me, like I said. This next one I wrote it in April of, I believe, 2012 about my daughter's father. With all relationships that don't work and go awry in some way, especially when it's a child that results from it, it's difficult. And it took me a long time to wrap my head around feelings about that. I'm happy to say now that he couldn't be a better dad and I couldn't be a better mom. And we've learned how to work it out. Some days better than others, but we've learned how to work together. So this poem is called Open Letter to the Man I Loved. You are not just an accessory to the fact. You are a man that I loved. Not that leap tall buildings and love. A best friend you haven't seen in a while and I still call you by your middle name, love. Though I can't pump blood through parts that aren't a part of me, I can still find soul to give you when you need a revival session. Where you can't seem to find the light switch or where you put the bulbs. I find it comical when you sing out your hymnals of fantastic this and fantastic that because I know the man behind the green curtain, the one whose hands are tired and worn from winding the wheel to keep their facade clear and real looking. I know you thrive on enigma like the GOP on fear, but I do not fall in love with something I was unaware of. I saw this boy that loved more than he could give, gave more than he had, and you didn't have a lot. Under some weird cliched moon, we were meant to be together long enough to touch, teach, and create. You showed me how to let the world in, more rib separator, less paper cut. That love was all in the hands and less in the hips. I told you as you kissed my stomach before you went to the doors that would change our lives that no matter what, I loved you. And through obnoxious Facebook posts, my hormones, your hormones, and the pain of realizing forever wasn't that long, I've kept my promise. To the man I loved, I know there is a fiery woman who will burn eyes down to the ground and show you how to use your larynx instead of a speaker system. Let her in. She may be your next pupil. That one was something I was like, should I read it? Should I not? But I have a deep respect. I have a deep respect for the person that, helped me bring maybe, not even maybe, the greatest thing in my life into the world. So shout out to you, Justin. This next one is called Trust. You will see very soon within it that it's not about trust. It's about me being angry that I gave that out. And like anything, with any healing, you learn how to create boundaries and how to keep people from hurting you. And that's all boundaries are, is how do I make sure that you know how to treat me so we don't step over each other's. How do I teach you how to treat me? And I wish I would have known that so many years ago, but every time I wish that there was something that I would have learned, I have to remember that there's people who never get here. There's people who never get to thrive and not survive. There's people that never get to have some sort of enlightenment, some aha moment. So I'm so thankful that I got here. So here's trust. I can't trust the words or actions of men anymore. They can be meaningful and meaningless all at the same time. I find myself sitting in the tension of wishing loving you never had to hurt and being upset that the pain didn't produce the outcome of us being together. I was always told that pain was gain and that if I suffered enough, I could have you. That's what happened to my aunties and my mama. I poured into you while emptying me, hoping for a return on my investment. But how am I supposed to celebrate growth that happened at my expense? What am I to make of a strength nourished by my food I cooked and dreams that I fed that I'll never experience? There are far too many of us doing the emotional labor of birthing men we'll never get to have and hold. Thank you. And can we talk about it for a second? Because it's a lot of men who expect women to do emotional labor. Yes, I'm talking to you. If you think I'm talking to you, hit dogs hollering, yes, that's you. It's a lot of men who will not do the therapy, do the work, learn things about themselves they like, learn things about themselves that aren't good, how that affects other people, and becoming a better person for themselves, not for marriage, not for a job, for themselves. And I want more men to do that. I want more men, especially black men, because I love y'all, and that's who I partner with, because I love y'all and I want all the black love. I want you to go to therapy. I want you to get out all of the things, because America is not nice to people of any color. If you got any kind of hue, yeah. But I think that it's important to talk about that to someone. Your big mama not gonna work. Your auntie's not gonna work. Your mama's not gonna work. I know, because I've tried those things. Your pastor at your church, he's great. He's awesome. She's great. She's awesome. No shade. But go to a licensed medical professional and have them teach you the skills that you need to be a better person for someone. Because you can't come into a relationship half full. Let me say it one more time. You can't come into a relationship half full. A relationship is two whole people coming together. Not a quarter, not 75, 100, 100. So, yes. I hear you laughing over there, Lindsay. So this next poem is called I Don't Date Black Girls. And if you are a black girl, you have heard this before. You have heard that oh man, you're so dope, but I don't really like bad girls, or oh, I wish that if you were just like something else, then I usually go for this girl. My particular moment was when I was 3 months postpartum after having Athena. Just got my body back, snatched, feeling real good. Went out, and a guy from my class, I saw him and I was like, here it is. 3 tequila shots later, I went over there, got the gusto, got that liquid courage, and I was like, hey, I really like you. I think you're so smart. I think like it would be so good to go with you. And he told me to my African American face that he didn't date black girls. He only dated Hispanic women. Preference and whatever, I don't really get with that, but I understand if that's what you do. But oh, that hurt. Oh, it hurt. It hurt so bad. And I recently had a friend tell me that exact same thing. And that spurred this poem, because I had to really step back and ask my friend Shayla and go, why do people say they don't date black women? I am lovable. I'm so mad we have to wear masks because my face is so cute. Like, I don't understand why anyone would say anything about not dating black women, because we are it. But this is called I Don't Date Black Girls. He told me I don't date black girls. What does that even mean? Are you saying you don't date wide hips and big smiles? Or I don't date black girls because one time in 5th grade they told me anime was whack. Grow up. Be real. What is it? We went to the same schools. I saw you at the same parties. I know your sisters, your cousin Nitra. Be real with me. What is it? I look like the past, don't I? I look like Kool-Aid, pickles, and poverty, don't I? I look like the neighborhoods you left and never want to go back, don't I? I look like braids and someone telling you your edge up is just a little off, don't I? I look like someone who holds you accountable, don't I? I look like partnerships and shared weight, don't I? Do I look like your trauma? Smell like blue magic and 2 jobs just like your mama did? Are you scared of me? You don't date black girls because you're afraid of them. You don't date black girls because you think social mobility dictates that you cannot. You don't date black girls because black women are for grown-ups. You don't date black girls because it reminds you that you cannot escape your skin. Black girls don't date you. That's why you don't date black girls. Lame. That's one of my favorite ones. I think you can see that in my face. Because stupid. This poem is about somebody that I realized after we had been in a relationship that their whole body composition had changed. Everything about them was different. They didn't hold themselves the same way. They didn't talk to me the same way. They didn't even look me in my eyes. And to be so intimately attached to somebody and have that go back to being complete strangers, it was so weird. It was so off-putting. And so I wrote this in my notes app in my car right after experiencing that. It's called You Don't Hold Me Like You Used to. You don't hold me like you used to. You don't tilt your head and look into my eyes. You don't breathe the same way around me like you used to. You don't hold your shoulders. Your legs wander around like they don't want to be around each other. Your hands don't have a home. Your body feels unwanted when you're around me. How does your heart feel when you're around me? Does it feel still? Does the sound of my voice drown out anything that scares you? I remember when I used to make you fly, when my smile could erase anything for you. I remember when you breathed deep around me, when your sighs were happy, when your legs touched and met mine, when your shoulders sat and stayed like a good dog. Remember when you used to love me? When we used to live in your Toyota Corolla, when you held my back every time you kissed me. You don't hold me like that anymore. I don't want you to. You don't live in my head rent free. You don't live in my body. I do. I realize that you're not the only person that can hold me. Thank you. I'm going to do this so that way I can see if you guys said anything about anything. Let me just look. Give me a second. Okay. I guess I'm getting older because technology. What is it? If you have any questions or anything, you tell them that's behind the backboards that you can't see, and then they will tell me, and then I will answer the things. Because as you see, I like talking. So talk back to me. Let me know if you feel something. Let me know if a line was whack. Like, I'm fine. I can take criticism. I take care of a 67-year-old black woman. I can take anything. So this next one is called The Price of Love. Also, shout out to Leona. This one is about me working so hard after I had Athena. I worked 2 jobs. When I went to school a week after she was born, worked 2 jobs, went to school full time. I was exhausted, but I knew that if I did that, that made sure food was on the table, that made sure that she had shoes and clothes, and that she would have something to eat. And God bless my village of black women who made sure that we always had something to eat and we always had what we needed. Special shout out to Lisa. And I'm so glad that I got that experience because I know what sacrifice means. But I know what sacrifice means in a good way. What hard work for a purpose feels like. And like I said in the motherhood poem, kids really do show you who you are, because in that moment I had to really figure out who I was. And thanks so much, Athena, for that. So this is called The Price of Love. I wanted to be in front of the stage at my best friend's show supporting, toasting a drink with my other friends, getting nods, being free, being young. But instead I'm on day 7 of no days off. Putting up clothes at a store I couldn't afford even with my 40% discount. The price of love is heavy. It tears at your shoulders and it eats at your ventricles. Once you've adjusted the weight to a size that you could carry it becomes weary, fretful, and makes itself more of a burden. I love my daughter. It's a mantra I must repeat to remember that something drives this. I love my daughter. I love my daughter. I love my daughter. Something initiates this spark inside of me that takes 4 more shifts during midterms just to buy Easter dresses. I have learned sacrifice like my ABCs. Abandon all that is unnecessary. Begin with what you have left. Cease all complaining. The price may hurt, may reach into my gut and scrape the last remainings of might, but I will keep on because the price is something that you will never have to pay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So this is the last poem of what I have deemed the love section. And it's called You Ever See a Metaphor? And it is for me getting my morning coffee one day and having someone in my house and me looking and just being like, what are you doing here? And me trying to figure out how I can tell you to get out. But like lovingly, in a loving way, in a loving and respectful way. And because I cared about this person, I cared that they were someone that I loved, but also probably shouldn't be with you. So this is called You Ever See a Metaphor? You ever see a metaphor laying in your bed? He laid there on his stomach, shoulders hunched up, one arm over his face, one underneath his belly, and I just stared at him. The kind of staring where you tilt your head to get a deeper look at what you're looking at. Here he was, snoring in my bed, and I forgot who he was for a second. He looked like all of my dismembered dreams, Frankenstein together to look like a home. And here I was, trying to live in them. Why do I love fixer-uppers? Buying paint to make him look gentleman-like, putting up curtains to hide red flags, fixing plumbing so I won't see issues. Can you blame me though? Society told me that I must have a home, and I've been squatting in homes that I wasn't supposed to be ever since. So I'm gonna make you work. I'm gonna spackle holes in your story. I'm gonna bring extra blankets when you're too cold to live in. I'm gonna make you livable. I have to. All the other houses I've rebuilt are off the market. Y'all are really keeping me alive with those snaps. I'm just tell you, because with features, as somebody who has been to other people's features, and I'm sorry I keep looking off camera, that's me. But as somebody who's been to so many other people's features, I am good for a dang. I'm good for a snap. I'm very country. I'm from Boley, Oklahoma. Boley, USA, stand up. And so I am very loud. So the fact that it's just like, and I have like these sweet affirmations playing on the side. You are enough. You are everything. It sounds a little like Beyonce, so I'm making that up in my head. That Beyonce is telling me I'm enough. So, but yeah, it's weird to hear the silence. So thank you so much for the snaps. Appreciate you. Okay, so we've reached the part of the show where I talk about death. Yay. But I've experienced a lot of death, like I think a lot of people have during this epidemic. And death has been renewing, if that makes sense. It's been something that's made me very critical of my own life in the best way. I've had to look and go, okay, this is what I need in my life. This is not what I need in my life. And I'm really happy that I got to do that now instead of, y'all doing that later when I'm gone. And it's been hard. My nephew, Armani, got killed in his apartments, and he was 16. And I had to write his obituary, and I didn't know what to say. I called her my mother-in-law. She's Athena's dad's mom, but she's like my mom. So I called her and I said, how do you write an obituary for somebody who didn't get a chance to do what they wanted to do? And she told me to just write it like they did. And, I lost my dad when I was 19, and that was really hard, but I saw it coming. He had been in the hospital 3 different times over a year. I knew that it was probably going to happen. It still didn't make it hurt less, but I knew it was going to happen. But my nephew just came out of left field, and seeing him in his little suit, it never will leave. And, I'm okay with that, because it's made me see myself in a way that I wouldn't have if I hadn't had to go through it. It's made me go, what can I do now that I'm alive? I would have never took a 45-minute feature if that hadn't happened. I would have thought I had time, or I needed to prepare more, or anything like that. And him passing away so quickly let me know that anything can happen at any time, and that I should grab everything I want to do right now. And if I fail, that's okay. That's how I know I'm alive. That's how I know I'm breathing. That's how I know I'm moving. That's how I know that I'm working. So if I fail at this, which I haven't, I think I'm doing pretty good. But if I fail at anything, I think about him not having the opportunity to fail. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to fail. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to stretch myself. And everything I do is for him. So the poem I'm going to read is the poem I actually wrote and read at his funeral, and it's called Good Parts. You sat in my passenger seat and said, Aunt Ashley, people don't see the good parts of me anymore. They only see the bad parts. I told you that good people make mistakes and that mistakes don't make you a bad person. But what I should have told you is that you don't have bad parts. Bad means of poor quality and low standard, and none of that defines you. The first time I saw you, my heart expanded so much I thought it would burst. You healed parts of me I didn't know were broken. I never felt more valuable than when I was loving you. That's why writing this is so hard. Writing this is like trying to find footing where there's nowhere to stand. I asked you, what should I say? And you told me to remember, and so I will. I will remember you in motion and not in still photos. I will remember you in color and not in black and white coroner's reports. I will speak your name rather than letting it sit dormant on obituaries. I will speak your name into existence. I will take all the good parts of you and make a new me. I will smile more. I will make space. I will love where there's none. I will be quiet and ask life questions. I will ask people questions. I will dance like everyone is watching. I will make them watch. I will imagine new realities. I will share my heart and not be afraid that people will see the scars. I will be everything you taught me. I will be what you would have if life was fair. If God had listened to our plans and not laughed. People tell me there's a reason, and the only one I can think of is that your death made me reflect on my life and our lives and what life even is. That I was twice as old as you and knew half as much as you. The fact that you could stand in your skin and always see your beauty, that you saw so much but held so little on your shoulders. Armani, I just want to be like you. I want to taste the world and not frown from its bitterness. I want to believe that it's better. And the new me can do that. Because you left me all of your good parts. Oh, got a thug teary-eyed. Oh, wow. I'm not a thug. Josh told me I wasn't. But wow. Oh, man. That was hard. And harder than I thought. It was hard at his funeral, but woo. Yeesh. That's good though, right? Like I asked Twitter yesterday, because that's what you do as a millennial. You ask Twitter. And I asked Twitter, if it hurts your feelings, is it good? And they said yes. So that hurt my feelings. So that means it is a good poem. And I'm seeing all the nodding. So that means it was a real good poem. All right. So unfortunately, I don't know, fortunately, maybe, I have been asked to write at a lot of people's funerals. Armani's funeral, obviously. And then my Aunt Barbara. She was like, I think she was a Virgo. She might have been. She lived her life like a Virgo. Someone call her a Virgo. She very much like had everything planned for her funeral. She had her pictures. She had what flowers she wanted to have on there. She had what casket. She had what church. She had all the people she wanted to speak. And of all the grown-ups that she had speak, she asked for me to speak, which I thought was so weird because I loved her so much and so deeply. But I thought, like, what could I say that meant anything? Because she was the central point of meeting for everybody. Every Easter, every Christmas, every holiday, everything, we were always at Aunt Barbara's house. And I don't think we've ever felt that void because she just knew how to bring people together. And she was just so warm and so comforting. And she was one of those people in my life that always believed in me. She always told me I was better than I was. Always. And I pray that you and the people that you love have that in your life. And if you don't have that in your life, be that in your own life. And I miss her so much, but I got to say this. So I wrote this when I was 19, and it's called Stay Sweet. You were what beautiful was made of. To say you were pivotal in my life would be insulting. You were integral. You, Black career woman with heart and earnest, showed me that it's not about having it all, but loving what you have. Every recital, every event, commencement, cookout, you were there. You and Uncle Eugene with that camcorder that has 1,000 hours and probably thousands of lives recorded on it. You were our family Bible, holding all the precious pieces of us so that just in case we forgot who we were, you could remind us. You were everything to everyone, and that is a legacy. I remember calling Mama when I was in college and you asking to speak with me. Hey, Ashley, how's everything? I'm having some trouble with a computer, and I know you know what to do, so can you come back and look at it? I would come, knowing that the payment would be something you made from scratch or $10, and you would jot down notes, as I told you. You have to hold down Control C and V at the same time, Aunt Barbara. Or I don't think you sent that email, Aunt Barbara. You would always hug me and tell me stay sweet at the end. I just thought that was your way of sending me off, but I realized that you were telling me that one day this world would get to me. One day I would realize just how cold and cruel people can be. One day I would know what real pain feels like. One day I will lose people I love, but no matter what this world throws at me, I should stay sweet. Don't be bitter, stay humble, trust God, and stay sweet. Well, Aunt Barbara, I promise that I and the rest of the Corneliuses will do just that. I will not let life get to me. I will not taste the bitterness. I'll stay sweet. Ooh, these poems are hitting a little harder than I thought. That's good though, right? That's good. I hope y'all are still with me. I hope you still feel it. I hope you are here and you are like, maybe wiping away a tear. Cause I love when I start crying when people read poetry. Cause I'm like, ooh, that hit something that I didn't even know. I'm gonna jot that down and talk to my therapist on Wednesday. Like something about that touched something in me that I didn't know that needed to have that. So, all right. The next one it's called Senses. And Senses is about all the things I miss about the people that I lost. My love language is touch. If you can't tell by me completely touching my thighs every 2 seconds. I need to hug people, which right now, I'm going through it. Send one up. Because I love to hug people. I love to touch people. I love to, hit them on the arm when I think they did something funny. Or, I love to kiss people that I know on the cheek. And I can't do any of that. And it's been really hard. And that made me think about all the people who aren't here, and how I wish I could touch them and how I wish they could touch me. And I think that right now in this moment of like national grieving where no one's really acknowledging that we're grieving, we are deep in grievance. We are deep in pain and hurt. And I think there's so many lessons to find in that pain and hurt if you dig through it. And you can take those into the happy sides and the happy places because you find out so much more about yourself in those times than you do in the happy places. The happy places is where it's the actual ball game. It's where you get to, act out those things. But the pain, that's in practice. That's when it's hard and you want to give up and you think that everything is going to die and you're going to die and nothing's going to make it out. And then you get to that game and everything that you learned, all that practice shows up. That was an analogy I didn't know I had in my head, but boom, country. Boom. But I think that touch is so integral to who we are as people. And so that's why people are really going through it right now. And people is me. I'm people. So this is Senses. The soft sharpness of putting your head on your grandma's shoulder. The feeling of a hand heavy with your history rubbing your head. Love never ends. It's eternal. But touch is momentary. I miss my dad hugging me so hard my shoulders touched. I miss the comfort of my uncle playing in my hair after a long day of working hard in the yard. I would cut grass and chop wood and cut tree limbs just so my uncle could scratch my scalp at the end of the day. I miss my dad's touch most of all. I miss forehead kisses, Sitting on his knees, I've never felt taller. He would sit me on his knees each summer and in his country accent ask me, what I'm gonna do with you? I still remember him smelling like blue magic and mothballs. One day I'll sit on his knee and he'll tell me, look at what you've done. Why did that one hit? Ooh, I have makeup on for like the first time in like 30 days. I cannot cry. It's not gonna happen. Won't catch me on tape crying. Not me, not I. So I wrote this next poem. Anybody who knows me knows that my mom has been going through it health-wise. For the last year, she's been in and out of the hospital with different things. And the last one was super scary. And scary in a way where I thought that she might not come back. She had driven herself, and typical Leona fashion, because she doesn't ask for help, she had driven herself to the ER. And a normal person's oxygen rate should be about 99 to 100, maybe even like dip to 98. And she was at a 63 when she got there. And her lungs were filled with liquid. Her heart was super weak. She didn't know who I was. She was completely delirious. And she stayed in that state for at least a week and a half-ish. And we sincerely thought that that was the end. I thought I would sincerely be parentless. I would just be like an orphan in the world. And I got there. She called me at work just very nonchalantly. Again, if you know my mama, you know this is true. She called me, hey, Ashley, how you doing? I'm doing good, mama. What you doing? You know, well, I'm at the hospital. At the hospital for what? Well, they said that, what'd you say? They said I couldn't breathe, and so I drove, and I got here, and, you know, they said I should call you, and I didn't want to bother you, but they said I should call you. You're in the ER. Bother me. Like, what are you doing? Like, again, typical Leona fashion. And I can't say anything because I am so much of Leona. So a lot of people are like, but you do the same thing. This isn't about me right now. This is about Leona. So I wrote this because I parked my car and the guy at the valet was like, oh, here's where everything is, da da da. And my parents have been sick my entire life. I knew how to give insulin shots when I was 5 years old. Like, and this is back before they had the one insulin shot. This is back when you had to mix Humulin N with Humulin R at a certain type of units. And then you had to shake up the needle, tap it so no bubbles got into it, and put it into somebody's vein. And I knew how to do that at 5, at 3 a.m. before school started. So I'm used to things like that. I'm used to hospital trips. I know St. Anthony's, as this poem is titled, like the back of my hand. I know where the vending machines are, where the designated parking is for the West Wing versus the East. I know where the check-in is, observation is, the cardiovascular unit is. I know the halls. I know how the air smells like it doesn't want to be there either. My last name has been almost on every floor. Whether it was a leg that was broken, a kidney that failed, a heart that was broken, the hospital knows me, and I know it. I hope I can forget it for once. Thank you. Okay, last one of the saddies. That was the last sad one. Oh, actually, I lied. I have one more sad one because I know you wanted one more, right? You told wanted one more. You were like, oh, give me the sads because I don't get enough of that in my life right now. Everything is going well and swimmingly, and there's nothing to be sad about. So I'm sorry that I'm ruining your perfect day. But this last one is called My Daddy Died. Pretty on the nose. My daddy died an important man. He didn't get flags lowered when he took his last breath. He died poor, surrounded by other poor people just like him, who loves him. He was no dignitary, but he was my daddy. My daddy sat me on his knee and told me how many times he loved me by the way he jostled me. He told me that I was precious every time he sang Frankie Beverly to me. He told me I was perfect every time he bought me a tie-dye short set. He was an important man. The most important man. He was my daddy. Okay, that wasn't that sad. All right. So, I'm on my last three. What time do we have? We have 6:45 left?
We're at 6:45 right now.
6 minutes?
It's 6:45.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, wait, what? I did like 15 poems. What you talking about? Oh, my God. And here I was thinking that I wasn't going to be able to fill up 45 minutes. Father God, help us all. Okay, well, then I'm going to skip this last one. I'm going to go to the one that I love the most. It's the one that as soon as Lindsay asked me, do you want to do a feature? I said yes, and I wrote this poem. So, matter of fact, I'm going to get off my stool because I really want y'all to feel this. I can do all three? Okay. I just might. Let the spirit use me. All right. This one is called Black Women Will Not Save You. Black women will not save you. Why? Because we don't want to. You have tried to hide me from myself from the moment my soul touched your soiled sand. You took my tongue, you took my husband, you took my child, and you still asked me to smile for you, to perform, to jump up and down and make you feel less guilty. And you want me to just forget that? Your mama's mama was taken care of by my big mama. My mama taught your kids for 35 years and made less than I did as a manager at the Gap. And when you're mad, I won't save you. You're mad? Mad you went to the doctor to make your hips and backside wide and you still don't stand out like me? Mad that your woo childs and your 32-inch yaki weaves are the only ingredients for black girl magic? You tried to dig your nails into me and hold me back. Even now I hear your voice telling me this poem is angry, but nah, you gonna get this work. Every day of my 31 years, you tried to kill me with your policies. You tried to kill me with your actions. You tried to kill me with your words. Your daughters have called my daughters angry. Your sons have called my sons dangerous. Your mothers have called my mothers selfish and negligent. Your dads have said mine don't exist. So how can I save you if you can't even admit that I'm real? I'm a real mother, a real caretaker, a real poet, a real activist, a real partner. I am vast, I contain multitudes, but you would reduce me to a box. Black women are the blueprint for hair, language, your faux hood accent, clothes, shoes, babies, bodies, nations, leadership, fearlessness, vulnerability. Because that's what makes me a strong black woman. That I can be seen as my full self, be seen as somebody around black women. I see why you're envious of that feeling. But no, black women will not save you. We will not kiss your boo-boos and tell you it's okay. You will have to do what we have done for 400 years. You will have to save yourself. All right. Thank y'all so much. I feel 45 minutes on my first feature. Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and a huge thanks to Kashlee Banx for performing for us tonight. While the mixtape experience is currently closed, you can still visit our virtual experience, Mixtape 360, at factoryobscura.com 24/7. And our gift shop is also available online for for pickup or delivery. And Factory Obscura is taking over the mail. Our artists have handcrafted one-of-a-kind postcards just for you. Order yours by August 31st, and you'll get an original, personalized piece of art delivered to your home. Visit factoryobscura.com to place your order now. Be sure to check out Downtown Starlight, our new mobile sound and light experience, which will make an appearance at Scissortail Park's night market on August 28th, as well as Kerr Park on September 5th. As always, wear a mask, wash your hands, keep a safe distance, and stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.